everyone, and welcome to the Den. This week I'm starting a new series. So this series I'm going to call the Double Dose. And what it's going to be is going to be two recipes that might fit into like a similar category, or let's just say something like two crock-pot recipes or sliders or something like that. So you can look forward to that every single week, and I'm hoping that it'll be kind of a fun little series, and I want to do this for the rest of my channel for as long as I post videos. But this week we're going to do orange chicken and a recipe that's called crack chicken. And I've actually made the crack chicken before. It's really, really good, and I'm going to put it onto sliders. So today we're doing orange chicken, and these are both going to be crock pot recipes. So stick around because I've never tried this orange chicken recipe, and I'm hoping that it's good, but we're gonna find out, so let's get cooking. So for our orange chicken, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to start cutting my chicken into about 1-inch pieces. I'm gonna use about 4 breasts. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of boneless chicken here, but I'm going to double mine up. Just because you guys know, if you watch any of my other videos, I'm always feeding more than 3 or 4 people. So here I am. I'm just going to cut up this chicken, and I'm just going to stick it directly into my Ninja Food Possible, or whatever it's called. That pot has a bunch of different functions on it. So when I saute this with the next ingredient, which is going to be cornstarch, I can do it right in my pot. If you don't have one of these, then just use your stovetop, like a skillet. So here we're going to put in 2/3 a cup of cornstarch, because I am doubling this recipe for myself. I will post, as always, all the ingredients that you'll need for these recipes in the description below. So I'm just going to get this cornstarch measured out and then put in here, and then I'm just going to cover, you know, the pieces of chicken as best as I can. You could do this if you wanted to in a bowl, or in your, skillet if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do it directly in my little crock pot bowl here, and just, like I said, cover them completely. Make sure that you get them. The cornstarch is kind of weird. You just want to make sure you just keep stirring it until you get all of the chicken as covered as you possibly can. This cornstarch is going to thicken the sauce as well once we move on to the sauce part. So make sure you get that chicken nice and combined, and like I said, I'm going to turn my crock pot onto the saute setting, and that is going to get this chicken all nice and brown. So this is just about coated here, and we're going to put that into the pot, the warming element of the Ninja, and I'm going to set it to saute on high. And then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Now, it calls for 4 tablespoons of olive oil. That's what you would brown your chicken in. But I'm going to start off with a little bit less, just because this is a nonstick pot and I don't know if I'll need that much. And then I'll just add if I think I need more as it's cooking. So you can see here, it's just coming together. It's browning. And I did need to add a little bit more oil. Plus, too, I don't want any raw cornstarch just hanging around down there. We want that all combined onto the chicken. This sauce, once you get the sauce in there, it's all going to get incorporated. But I'm just going to keep moving this around until it's almost cooked through. You don't have to cook it all the way through, but you do want to start to brown this. And like I said, if you need to add a little bit more oil, just do it as needed. And that's what I did there. So I just keep stirring this until it looks good. And then once it's almost done, then I'm going to just let it kind of cook on its own without really paying attention to it. And I'm going to make the sauce, which is what we're about to do next. So this here is almost done. You can see that it looks like the chicken doesn't have too much more pink spots, and there's a lot of browning already happening to the chicken. So that's what you're looking for. Like I said, it does not have to be cooked all the way through, because we are going to set the crock pot and let the sauce and the chicken cook together. So here's my ingredients: marmalade, sesame oil, soy sauce, ground ginger, crushed red pepper, and apple cider vinegar. And then I have cloves of garlic in here. I did about a head of garlic. So I'm going to use this entire jar of marmalade. It's just a regular jar of marmalade. you would use a cup and a half if you're going to only do 2 pounds of chicken breast. But like I said, I'll give you all the ingredients in the description below. So I go ahead and use the entire jar of the marmalade because that would have been just about right. So just scraping all the bits out of there. Now I'm going to go in with sesame oil, and I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, and I just kind of measured it out by sight. Soy sauce, and I'm going to use an entire cup of soy sauce here. And then we're going to go in with our ground ginger, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. You could use fresh. If you have fresh ginger on hand, just do a little conversion fresh to ground. And then apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of vinegar, which I should have doubled it and done 4, but it was okay. It turned out fine. I don't think it needed it. I don't know. Didn't miss it if it did. So I'm just going to give this a mix and combine all of these ingredients together in the bowl. And this is your sauce. This is what's going to give you that orange chicken taste, especially that marmalade. So just make sure it's nice and incorporated. Break up that marmalade on the bottom and just get it mixed in together. And all the chunks of the orange that's in the marmalade. And then we're just going to take it over to the crock pot, which is still on the saute setting for me. You could turn your heat down to low or off. And we're going to add that. And this is the time when you would put your chicken into your crock pot and then put your sauce on top of it. So, but because I did everything in the same pot, I don't have to transfer anything. That's why I love this pot too, because it really cuts down on having to clean so many pieces, especially if you have like a 2-step process like this. So I'm just going to fully combine the chicken with the sauce here. And like I said, that cornstarch on that chicken is going to thicken this sauce up quite a bit. So I'm going to set my Ninja to low for 3 hours. You have to press start on that before we'll let you go less than 6 hours for some reason. So I'm going to set it to 3 hours, and then we're just going to put the lid on it and let it do its thing. So this is about halfway through, and I'm just going to give it a stir. Just check on your chicken, make sure it's doing good, it's not getting too thick. Sometimes your crock pot cooks faster. You know, some crock pots cook faster than others, so just keep an eye on it. And then this is when it's fully done, and you can see how thick this has gotten. And like I said, because there's it's a sweet base, make sure it doesn't overcook or burn. So here we go. I'm just going to mix it, and then we're going to make our plate here because this is done, and it came together super fast. And I'm just going to put this over some fried rice. And look how thick that is, so much thicker. And then here it is, and I'm going to do a couple garnishes. I'm going to put some white sesame seeds and some green onion. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this, but I love both, so I am going to. And look at that, dinner is ready, and it looks great. Okay, everyone, so the orange chicken is all done, and we are going to give this a taste test. Okay, so let me just get a piece of chicken. I made a little fried rice with this, so let's try it. Hold on. Let me just try a piece of chicken. Okay. So it's really good. I feel like it's missing a little bit of sweetness almost. You would think with the whole jar of jelly or the marmalade that it would be sweet enough, but I think almost it needs a touch of brown sugar. Which I tasted it before a little bit when it was fully cooked, it was sitting in the crock pot, and I thought that, but I left it like it was because this is exactly how the recipe is, and I think it's good, and I think that it's definitely worth trying. But I think next time I would add a bit of brown sugar to this. But anyways, we're gonna eat dinner, and the next one up is cracked chicken, and I hope you stick around for the second half of our double dose. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so it's time for part 2 of our double dose, and today we're making cracked chicken. I know it sounds weird, but I've eaten this before, and it's actually really good. And there's only a few ingredients, which you may already have on hand. So let's get into this one, and let's just see how easy this is. It's a crock pot recipe. Let's get cooking. All right, so we're moving on to our cracked chicken here. I know it's a weird name, but this is very few ingredients. Ranch seasoning, Philly cream cheese, and some chicken breasts. So I'm going to add my chicken breasts into the bottom of the pan. I'm going to start with 4, and I'm going to look and see how I feel about that. And again, I'm doubling the recipe that you will see in the description below, so keep that in mind. So here's my 4 chicken breasts. And that last chicken breast was a little bit small, so I'm sitting here thinking I might have to add another one. But I'm going to go ahead and throw in my cream cheese blocks. And I'm going to do 2 8-ounce blocks here. And then I end up throwing in 1 more chicken breast because I just felt like it wasn't enough chicken. And again, I'm always feeding, quite a bit more people. So there's my 5th chicken breast. And then I'm going to add in my ranch seasoning. And it's going to be the equivalent of 2 packets, or at least to my eyeballs, what I can see, two packages of the ranch seasoning. So we're going to set our crock pot on low for 6 hours and just let it cook. Now here we are, and this is about halfway through, maybe 4 hours through, and I'm just going to cut up that chicken because I like all of the insides of the meat to incorporate with the sauce and really make it quite flavorful. And I feel like just chopping your chicken, you can see it's kind of tough to chop here. It's not completely tender yet, and that's perfectly fine. I just want this to get more juice into the meat. So I'm going to chop it about halfway through, a little further than halfway, so that it can get nice and tasty. Just going to put the lid back on and let it continue to cook. And right before the timer is up, I cooked this bacon in the oven, so I had cooked this earlier on. So if you have bacon crumbles, just use that. If you have bacon on hand like this, just that's full bacon, go ahead and crumble it. So I'm just going to give this a chop here, and we're going to, this is a whole thing of bacon. So you'll see how much bacon in the description below, what you would need to use for bacon crumble. But I'm just going to chop this up and just put that straight in there with my shredded chicken mixture and my cream cheese. We're going to completely combine this. This is going to soak up some of the liquid as well and make it super tasty. And we're also going to add some cheddar cheese, and I'm just going to put enough to cover the top here. Again, this will also add to the flavor as well as give this a bit thicker consistency. So just mix this nice and completely. Just get all that cheese mixed in with the chicken and the bacon. You can see already how much it has thickened up even a little bit more. So I'm just going to put the lid on this and let this all warm up. Okay, this is almost done anyway, so we're going to go ahead and put this on our sliders once it's warmed through. And if you haven't seen my homemade sliders video yet, my homemade bread recipe, go check that one out and you will know how to make these cute little sliders yourself. And if you don't have time to make sliders, that's totally fine. Just grab some at the store when you're planning your week's meals, and then they will work just fine. But I'm just going to cover these completely, and then I'm going to top with a little bit of cheese. I love cheese, and so we're going to put the little bit of cheese on top. There is cheese in the mixture, but what's a slider if you don't have cheese on it, right? So we're going to put this cheese on here, and it does make them quite delicious. So just top them with however much cheese you want. And then once you have completed that, then you're just going to put the tops on. So here I am just putting the tops on my sliders, and they probably don't match the bottoms, but that's totally fine. Then I'm going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of butter that I've melted and added a little garlic and a little bit of sea salt to the mixture, and I just brushed the tops with that. This definitely makes them tasty. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a bit of oregano on top. You don't have to do that part if you don't want to, but I just sprinkled a little bit, and then I'm going to put them in a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're completely bubbly and browned on the tops. And see how the cheese is melted. So here I'm making my plate, and I made some homemade mac and cheese. I'm going to put some fruit on my plate as well, along with a few cucumbers. And there's my slider, and look at that, we are ready to eat, you guys. Okay, so I've made the plate that I'm going to eat tonight, and we're going to give this a try. So here it is. Let's give it a little go. Cracked chicken sliders. Hold on. Okay, so those are really good, and I will keep these on the menu in rotation because they are good and they're so easy. And you saw I had very limited ingredients, and you can just throw them on the crock pot for your cracked chicken. The crock pot and let it go all day. So I say these are also a winner. Like I said, we've had these before. If you have just regular hamburger buns or something like that, just throw them on there, even slices of bread, and you could toast those and be good to go. But this is gonna be good, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for next week's double dose, and I'll see you then.